So it's been a while since we checked on how far we are away. So let's do that. I'm just going to save our map, and we're gonna get an update on that. And we're saving the map because this way we can fill in the walls and then not have to pick them up again afterwards. If we're around like 2k near there, then yeah, it's time to min-max. But 5k or more, and you know, it's not really, I don't think that's really close. 6k, so not good enough. Not good enough. So 5.1k, I think that's our best so far. So the next thing in line might be to make more circuits. If we have a better circuit delivery and throughput, then after that it's going to be steel. So the problem here is we can't just make more circuits. We have a very fine line in how we're doing iron. Let's speed up this. So if you can see here, this is not backed up. This is not backed up even remotely. They're pretty much picking up everything that comes through here. So that means that all of our steel furnaces aren't working. So that means that if we try to make more, we're not going to have enough to do that. So that means we actually need to mine more iron and smelt more, which is a little crazy to think about. Kind of at a loss here, guys, because the main thing here is we're using a ton of space, you know? We are pretty much using everything we're making in terms of circuits and steel. Copper we have an excess of, but that's not costing us too much. It's just right here, which is like 1k at most. And even then we're just using up all the ore that we're mining. Basically, I think I can just get rid of these two, and then that'll be that. Let's go back to our other map. I'm going to get rid of these guys. And we'll just make sure that the copper is still okay. Just getting rid of those two. And it is, as you can see. It's backed up here. And this is even not picking up all of the copper that comes by because it's full. So I think this is fine. I think this is a good equilibrium of copper without the two that we were making here. So that means that we can kind of use this area for something if we wanted to. We could move these guys back over here and then have a little bit more of this on top of the ore itself. Because again, we can't get money back by putting walls onto the ore itself. So this is just free space to be used. and it's wasted space if we're not using them. Let's check on the how much this is worth. So this is actually pretty expensive. This is all 30, so I don't know how many tiles this is, but I would say it's probably worth at least 2 to 3K, right? The problem is, I think we still need to mine these two guys. I don't think we can fit another miner on top of these guys. And removing these 4 furnaces is definitely going to impede our copper production. We can test it just to make sure, but I'm fairly certain on that. We are getting some copper through, but okay, you know when I said I was fairly certain? You know, maybe I was just wrong. What is going on? What? We're even backed up on circuits. What the heck? This game just straight up confuses me. What? I'm gonna go to the 11:30 minute mark and make sure that we're still making the same amount. Okay, there we go. It's 25 and 25. That's 50. That's significantly less than what we normally make. Because we make around 70 with these guys. Let's just make sure. It's really strange though, because it looks like they're working almost full time. And there was copper backed up, so it makes you wonder why that's the case. Yeah, as you can see, this definitely increased. We're around the 70 mark as usual, as per usual. So we do need this copper backup. I guess next task would be to get rid of 1 miner and take out 2 of these furnaces and see if that still is up to par. But again, we're trying to optimize this as best as possible, and these little things do matter. Because it's a cost that we're paying. And having that space opened up would help a bit. So it looks like without those 2 furnaces, we actually don't make 10 solar panels. It's very interesting. Because looking at the lines itself, it looks like everything was good to go, you know? But I guess what was happening... Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna speculate because it just doesn't make sense to me. Because we have the backup of circuits, and that's good, and we have the backup of copper. So these two together would seem to indicate that we're doing fine on copper, you know? Of course, this is with the 4, but with the other 2, that was the same deal. I'm gonna let's do our quantitative analysis on the fast versus yellow inserter here. Oh, a little too far. We made around 1100. And if I change this back into a fast inserter, what happens? As long as it's around 1100, I'm not going to worry about it too much. Yeah, it's around the same. Just a little bit more equal. Alright, so I mean, at this point, we just have to start over almost, you know? Because I think this is the best we're going to do with this setup, this particular setup that we have. I think what we might want to try is actually get a change on how we're making the solar panels. And maybe we can get a better steel setup through that. The problem here is that these two things right here, in addition to this water, this area is not very it's not very optimal for our setup on steel. Excuse me. So I'm thinking putting solar panels for over here, for example, just won't be better than what we have currently. I've also thought about pulling some furnaces and things like that. But again, we're pretty much using everything that we're making. And we're not getting much backup other than the copper. So I think we're doing fine, you know, in terms of that. I think our production is good. It's just how we're using that production. Either we need to get more, which is probably the case, or we need to change up how we're doing this. Because I think this is nearly optimal in terms of how we're approaching this. Because we're not getting much backup in iron. We're pretty much using all of our iron. We don't have much backup in the ore itself. We have this, but that's very minimal, I would say. Changing these guys into fast inserters will not matter because the buffer's there. And then I think if I make these into fast inserters, they actually won't work properly. So what can we do with this extra space that we have here if we move these guys back and then continue the copper line down this way? Is there anything we can actually do with that? We'd save a little bit of money on the real estate, but that's not going to be worth 5K. So what might be worth 5K is moving this on top of here and freeing up all of this and then filling it in with walls. That might be worth 5K. Again, the problem is I think we've demonstrated that we absolutely need to have this many furnaces to get the output that we'd like, which is around 70 solar panels. So that means I would still need to have these miners down. So we're gonna do some redecorating here. And see what we can muster up. I did the save just in case that this is just totally bad, and then we don't have to wonder how we set it up before. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to have 2 miners out to the side here, and then have these guys add to the line. So this is enough. That's good. And I can just bring these upwards and then have these 2 meet. Oh wait, no, we want the... We want the furnaces closer. We want to bring the line this way because this is cheaper than this area over here. And then here we can split it off. So the problem here is that we're going to save a little bit of money by having the furnaces on top of this patch, but we're also going to lose a little bit of money because we're further down from the center. So this is worth 18.20. This is worth like 30 each. So we might actually not be saving anything. We might actually be using up money. So that's something to think about. Probably should have counted how many we had. That would be smart. We had 8, 12. So those are 12. Let's start it up a little bit higher. Again, this is a little bit cheaper. Okay. Again, a little bit cheaper. Let's start it up even higher. I think that's good, because we're gonna need a line out to this way, so I think that's acceptable. I think we can get our 4 into this way. Possibly. Hang on. Like this. So that's good. This actually is part of the line, you know? So that's actually very good. And we can actually make this shorter. So these miners are actually part of the line. I'm pretty happy about that. And then this natural divide, or this, the way that we have this set up is that this is going to have a longer route this way. So the split might be a little bit more natural. The problem is that this, if we do this, we only have 2 being supplied this way. So we're going to probably have a buildup of ore here that's not going to be used, and that's, again, a waste. What we could do for that is actually add a secondary splitter and have the majority have like 75% going this way and then 25% going this way. That's a pretty ghetto method, but I think it'd be worthwhile for us. So something like this. Oh. Something like this would accomplish that goal. So I want to try this out. I think this might work. I'm optimistic about it. Not thinking it will work, but you know, I hope it does. We can actually save a little bit of space, kind of. Alright. That's fine. Excuse me. Alright. And we just got power them up. This is on top of the ore, so I'm... Oh. It's on top of the ore, so I'm going to be using regular power pools. And then when it's not on top of the ore, I'd rather use the medium power pools. So all these guys are accounted for, so... unfortunately, it looks like I'm going to have to use... Oh. Okay, that's not too bad. We're going to have to use a power pole right here, but that's better off. Again, these are like... The power poles are worth more than... The mediums are worth more than the small, so we'd rather use these when possible. Unless this can cover 5 of these in terms of price and the walls and all that, then it's not worth using this. But I think that in this case, this is worth it. Same with this case, because that way I don't have to put anything down here. And again, that's just min-maxing. We're still far away from having to even do min-maxing. So I think we're good here. So let's add our coal. And hope for the best. Ideally, this would cost, or this would get us about the same amount of solar panels as before, which is around 70. Super ideally, we'd somehow make more, but I don't think that's gonna happen. And then here we can also change these into underground belts to save more money. Okay, so we do not have power up there, so let's fix that. There we go. Okay, so no backup. That's what we want to see in the ore. The copper backup is fine. I'm gonna stop it at around 11:30. That's where we've been taking our analysis from. Looks like this is going quite well, actually. So 11:30, we have the same setup, so that's good. I think we've done pretty well here. We have a lot of our setup on top of the ore, and we have the same outcome. So I think we might be saving some money. We might not be because we have all these belts here, but again, we can fix this by using some underground belts. So don't have money now. We do. Let's actually do this. Let's get our underground belt going and see if this actually does work. Oop, can't do that. This might be worth it. Let's check. That's worth 40. The difference is 40, so this is not worth it. This is worth it. It's not worth it. I don't think this is worth it. It's about even. I think it's not worth it though. This is definitely worth it. This is definitely worth it. Since we can't get 2 on here, we're going to actually... one more. There we go. And right here. Fortunately, we can't do this. So using red underground belts would allow us to have a further reach here, but they're also like 10 times the price. Literally 10 times the price, so it's not gonna fly for us. We did have to use them here because we need this length for that. Okay. Good, set one up right here. 2. Yep, that's worth it. Can actually probably do this. Maybe not. We'll have to check this. This works. Okay. Good. That means it's very worth it. So one thing we could do here that would save us some money is actually change I was thinking change this into an underground as a long-handed inserter, and then that way we can actually insert this guy onto this line. But now that I'm thinking about it, this is the ore line. And also we wouldn't have anywhere to put this. So disregard everything I just said. That is not how we're gonna do this. Alright, so I guess that's that in terms of helping out with our underground belts. This... oh, it's actually worth it over here. You can see that these are worth 10 each. So as long as I cover 4, we'll save a little bit of money. Not a lot, but a little bit. There we go. And we'll check here again. This is not worth, so... okay, so we're also opening up some space that we could be using for something, I don't know. I think that's probably the best we can do in terms of min-maxing without really getting into the nitty-gritty. So what I want to do here is check it again, see how far away we are. We were 5k away with everything else. So this, at the very least, should be around there. Ideally, it'd be better. Again, this is with... that wasn't considering this now, so this is hopefully much better compared to what we had. I'm hoping for a 2k difference from what we need. So, all right. I'm sure I'm missing spots, but that, you know, whatever. It's okay. Okay, so we're 3k away. That's That's pretty good. So 3K away is 5 solar panels. So if we can increase our rate of solar panels by 5K, we can do this. Or by 5, I mean, not 5K. So let's get this one back. All right. So just checking again what we're low on. We're low on steel. And when I say low on steel, I mean circuits. Okay, so let's... Is there any way that we can have this keep on going, but still send more iron this way? That sounds very impossible. This is... You can see this working pretty well the majority of the time. This guy is not. So let's take that guy. I know we did this already, but let's take this guy away and check our output. I still find it astounding how quick it is, or how easy it is to change this equilibrium. You can see we took away this one furnace, and suddenly, bam, we have this crazy backup of circuits. It's pretty astounding. Let's see. Oops. I'm going to check on this line here. As we can see, all of our furnaces are pretty much working full time. The last one in this bunch here is not all the time, but it's the majority of the time. So that means that everything that's getting put through here is good to go. So we're really just on this one furnace left. We need to be able to split the furnace down this way, or split the iron that's coming through here down this way so we have enough circuits. But I also want this to be working a lot of the time. The problem here is if I put this here, this will eat up 10 iron plates at all times, because it's going to have the backup and the buffer system thing going on. So that's 10 that could be going to circuits, which we'll need, and that, again, that does matter, as you've been seeing. So if possible, I would like to split that up. And since I've said split, I think I've come up with my answer. Okay, do this again. And see if this works. Who knows, maybe. So as we're doing our math, we got 50% going down our line here. 25% coming down this again. And that turns into 12.5% through here. I think this might actually help. I think this might do our job here. So let's check her out. It's really hard to move the map when you're on the speed for some reason. I'm gonna check at the 11:30 mark as usual, just to see our produce. And we have 30 and 39. Basically what we have been doing. So it actually hasn't changed our outcome at all. That's kind of sad. So as you can see that we have this backup here, and under the old version that we had, this iron would actually go to the circuits. So we've actually starved ourselves of more iron than we did before. So that's a no-go. Let's see. I would have really liked to put another furnace on this side here. And then from there we can move this splitter up, bring it back down, and add it to there. We can't put the splitter here because then that means the majority of the iron would actually be coming to the circuits and then just be on the belt, and that would not help. I'm stumped. I don't know how we can make this better without actually changing literally everything. I mean, I like how this is working, you know, it works pretty well. The only problem is that at the very beginning, I'd like more iron to go, or at the end, I'd like more iron to go to these guys than here. And I'm back to being reminded of the wires. Is there some way I can turn this off after I've gotten, I don't know, like 30 steel plates made on here? I could just turn this off and never turn it back on? Because at this point we have a backup of steel. You can see that over here. So that means that we'd rather have the iron come through this way. Because this right assembly machine isn't working full time. It's also pretty cool that we have like 17k worth of walls. Alright, so if that's the case, then our next... I'm not sure how to change this. So our next thing that we would have to look at is here. How can we get more iron plates out? We could move this guy over on the left side of this. And that would mean less plates going to here. But I don't think those are a problem. So that's not gonna help us. I do think we need all of these. I don't think we can get rid of these at all. If anything, we need to add to them. But I don't have any space to add more furnaces. I could probably add 2 more right on this side. But adding the 2 more is actually not going to be productive until right now. 7 minutes in is when the extra furnace will come in handy. Because that's when we got our build up. Before then, this guy is not working full time. This is barely working full time, and then that's that. So if we can get an extra miner here, that means we have to get an extra miner here. And if we get an extra miner here, that means we can add the more furnaces. More furnaces mean that we can get more iron, and more iron means we can get faster circuits and steel if need be. So it's time to get some wonky iron going. We have to make sure that we get enough iron from these to warrant mining from it. And that was pretty easy. So I just added this guy. It's not on the... We're gonna have to pay for it. Probably around 100 for this. Probably 200 for this. But I think that's worth the extra thing. We're actually gonna need to pay more. Because we won't be able to... Oh, never mind. Another 60 or so. I think we can do that, right? I don't think we can do that, actually. I don't think this works. It does not work. Okay. That sucks. I think it's still worth using the underground. Because this stuff is expensive. But we won't be able to get the full worth out of it. If we do this. That's fine. Don't worry about the small stuff. What else can we do? Can we get more ore on here? We could put one here. And then underground belt, another one right into here. So that's possible. Let's see if we can add the furnaces first. So this guy is gonna go down. Oh. Let's put our furnace. Okay, looks good so far. Let's do a little bit of this. And again, we're gonna have to hope that this evens out. This should be worth it. And then we'll add the coal. Oops. Okay, so we've added 2 more furnaces. to our setup. Now the question is, did that change anything? Oops. Make sure that they're... I really hope I just added those two. Because if this hasn't been working, then that means I am very sad. Everything else is oriented correctly, I believe. We're going to replace this guy. Okay, it'd be pointless to do that because that's there, that's there. There we go, there's that. All those are covered. Darn, these two, they're not covered. Okay, that one's covered. This one's alone, this guy. Alright. I think I can get away with using... Oh, I can't. Okay, that's why I was using that. Oh no, I can. Because now I have that. And I'm back to thinking that I can't. Because I can't power that guy. Right. So that's necessary, this is necessary, that's necessary. That's nice to have. Necessary. Don't need that. I think I can get away with doing this. I did need that one. Alright. Okay, so we're back in business. We do have to use one here, unfortunately. Right. So let's see how this fares. We've added 2, and we actually have a buildup of iron here, so I can turn this into a fast inserter, it looks like. And we're back on needing copper. That's actually very interesting. I'll continue to say this. I really find the balance between all of this really interesting. It's really crazy to think that just adding a couple things changes the whole equilibrium. The question is, are we actually making more or less than before? I believe more, because we had way too much copper before. Oh boy. So we're making like 2 or 3 more, which is actually pretty good. We only needed 5 more before, but we were using up more money with these guys, so I'm gonna say we need 4 more now. And let me check my graphics card real quick. I was getting some artifacts, which is a little strange. Oh, that might be why. There we go. Didn't have the right settings on. Alright, so we have increased our production. Now, can we increase our copper very slightly and continue this on? I think we can. We have 460 here, which is just fine. We did the math and we mine 30 ore per minute. So we have 12 minutes, so we need 360 minimum. If we want to make the full use of the spot, and this is 460, so we're good here. So all I have to do is turn this guy around and bam. You don't even have to use the splitter anymore. And we can add 2 more furnaces. And there we go. So this should keep up pretty well because we got rid of 2 furnaces on this side and we added them here. We added a mining drill here and that will keep up these 2 for sure, certainly. So this should be equivalent. It might even be better because it doesn't have to go through all that wonky splitting that we had. The only thing is that we're using up the space again that we claimed earlier, so it's a little unfortunate, but I'm hopeful. So let's fill her up with coal. Make sure we have the power situation set. How much are these? 15, 18? I'd have to use 30 to do this. Yeah. Oops, now I want it on this side. I think this is cheaper. Yep. Okay. The medium poles are 50 and these are worth 10 each. So I need to make up 40 if I were to use a medium pole. And that's not the case here, so these guys are just fine. Oop. I'm looking at this because I think I might be able to change this now. I'll move this up here, and then I'll be able to cover these 2. Because if I'm going to use it anyways, I might as well make sure I cover everything. This guy's good because it's on the ore, so that doesn't technically cost me anything. I'd have to use... these are all covered. Why is this... Oh. Okay, yeah. So we'll move this guy up. We can get rid of that. That's good. And because I moved it up a little bit, then I'm using a little bit less money. So, hey. Not bad. Okay, so we're back on needing steel. Looks like. Hey, actually, it looks like we're good here. We might be able to add the 3rd assembly machine. 3542. Guys, we might have it now. We might be able to do this. 3542. Let's add this 3rd one. Let's see if that makes any difference. $35.42, that's 77. We'll see if this is more or less. Let's wait for the 30-minute mark, 30-second mark. 35, 68, 74, 84. I think we're good. We're actually low on copper again. And we're low on electricity too. Alright. Well, if we make this, we might make it very close to what we need. So I'm going to check it out. We are making like 14 more solar panels than we were before when we needed 5k, 3k left. So 14 times 600, so 8.4k, right? So hopefully this will be good. That should definitely cover the small amount of space we're using extra here. So fingers crossed. Let's hope that all of our alterations here were worth it. And if that's the case, then the old adage, more is always better, has come true once again. We just needed to add one iron mine and one copper mine to the mix, and that would be good. That's good enough. If we're short by a little bit, we can go looking for the rest. But let's get her started. Fingers crossed. Looking decent so far. Okay, we're at the 10-minute mark. We might be... Oh, hey. We got it, guys. We did it. With more to spare, even. That's really exciting. I know I don't sound like it, but I'm pretty excited. That's pretty awesome. Wait. It only took us 100 hours game time to get it, but we did it. We even beat it by 2k. Alright, let's... I can't... They used to let you save the replay. Or save the map. But I guess I already saved it. I should have saved it before I started. But we took 16 hours game time. Again, that's because every time I press start and I speed it up, that full 12 minutes counts in my playtime, and I've done that several times. So I think real time that took us 3 or 4 hours, which is way too long still. Let's go back to our loaded game here. Oh, I think it did it autosave for us? Is this autosave? Yeah, okay, cool. Wow, that's a very timely autosave. So let's load that, slow her down, reload it, save, and name this tight spot campaign hard level 3 clear. Okay, so this is our completed map. So the main issue that we were having at the start, I just want to talk about this since this took us so long. I think it's worth going over. Main issue we were having at the start was we weren't getting enough steel, so we and we had too much iron on the line that wasn't being used. So we redid this line into this splitter method, where we had 25% going to this side. So this was all being used. We had 25 going to our splitters and 50 going down this line. And then after it reached this point, half of the remaining would go back to the circuits and use up the rest. And that was enough to help us out. We also had this extra furnace going. And then from there, we just needed to tweak our numbers. We added more furnaces for the iron and added more furnaces for the copper. So we just needed one more mining drill here, one more mining drill here, and then that was enough to shift things in our favor. We also moved down the furnace setup that we had here. So we had this here, we just moved it down, and that was that. So we did it. Level 3, complete. Thank you everyone for watching, I really appreciate it. I will see you guys next time.